And then the last announcement, I think, is the committees. Each committee has at least one member vacancy coming up. So if you are interested in serving on a committee, whether it's publications, instruction, tech services, or nominating, please feel free to contact the current chair, and all of that information is on the NEMLA website. And we do have some chair vacancies as well. So tech services chair tech services will need a new chair. Instruction committee will need a new chair. I think those are the only ones that I've confirmed so far. So again, if you want to serve on a committee, please get in touch with the current chair. Okay. I also would like to wish John Manson and say goodbye, because John Manson has accepted a position with Stanford University. He's currently serving as our treasurer. He's over in the back there. So if you've had a chance to get to know John, you'll probably miss him just as much as we will. And so that also means that we will be looking for a new secretary-treasurer. So if you're interested, or you know somebody who is, let them know. And we'll get in touch with everyone shortly after the meeting and let you know what the process is for that, okay? So I'm gonna have everyone, or one at a time, committee chairs come up. Sorry, not everyone at once. Just come up with, maybe starting with education and outreach, if that's okay. And then just give us an update, an announcement, and that'll be it. Okay, thank you. You can talk to them on the microphone. I think that'll be better for Zoe.
Sure. All right, hi everybody. So the Education and Outreach Committee, we are planning a project coming up, hoping to start this semester and probably go into the next semester and possibly next year or so. This is basically an outreach program for public librarians who are in some way involved with music. Not specifically public librarians who have a music librarian position, but those who more likely have some small section of the job where there's music, trying to find ways to reach out to them and help them out, basically. And this is a result of the survey that Maria Jane and the committee did before I was the chair, that kind of showed that public librarians are interested in learning more about music librarianship, but they don't really have the opportunity to travel very far, so that we're not really going to be seeing those types of librarians at these meetings. So what we're planning on doing is working with probably the library associations in these states around England to hold presentations about various topics of music librarianship. So some ideas that come up are collection development of audio recordings or scores for those library public that have scores, online resources for music, music reference, and things like that. So what we're looking to do is get members of NEMLA to volunteer their time, a little bit of time, to give these presentations. For example, I will likely be doing something in the Hartford area, so that's where I'm from. Marcy has volunteered to do something in the Boston area, development. So we're looking to see if any of you are interested in contributing to this project, especially if you are from Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, or Rhode Island. States that we haven't entirely covered yet. So we will do the work of contacting the associations, and we'll be putting together some kind of program ideas and what we think should be presented on, but we need people to actually physically be there to give the presentations. Well, I will also be sending out a note to the listserv probably next week to ask people who are not here about the same thing. If you are interested in doing any of these presentations, please contact me, scook@hartford.edu. I'm sure my contact information is on the website. Contact me and just let me know that you're interested, and we will see if we can set you up with one of the associations and see if we can get the presentation going. Part of our hope is that this will also give public librarians someone in the music librarianship field to contact if they have further questions about music and libraries. So we kind of building relationships that way. And perhaps they will also be encouraged to come to our NEMLA meetings as well, because it's a good job. So that's our project. Again, if you're interested, please contact me, and that is all. Thank you.
Next, let's see, instruction committee, or actually no, not instruction committee, you didn't have any members. Sorry. Tech services.
So we spent most of our meeting working out how to get a new chair. We don't have one. Sharon's moved west. I can't comment about that now, obviously, because I'm doing the same. But we're going to try and put out a general sort of call for interest for anyone who wants to chair the Technical Services Committee. So we'll put that out on the listserv, and we'll try and get together a shortlist, and then the committee will nominate to Anna a new chair. Hopefully we'll get someone in place relatively soon. We went through the new objectives that we have that have finally been arranged, and one of the big things is acting like as a conduit between MLA and NEMLA members, so we can disseminate information from there. So we're hoping that we'll always have like a sort of floating MLA liaison person, which will basically be whoever's got funding to go to MLA for the year. But they'll act in a way of getting information, technical services information back to us, and we will get it to NEMLA members as well. And then we were interested in what Sam was saying about the Education Outreach Committee, about trying to get involved with the Public Libraries initiative as well, so we'd be interested in getting connected in that in some way. And I think that's about it. So yeah, obviously with RDA coming on, there's going to be quite a lot that we can be involved with, but we also want to make sure we're doing some other things as well, like, working with different types of materials, field recordings and things like that I mentioned, so we're going to look into that. I think that's about it, and yeah, and thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being part of NEMLA.
Nominating committee.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Lovejoy, and I'm chairing the nominating committee, and we do have at least one opening to fill this year. So, be thinking about who you would like to nominate to run for vice chair, chair-elect, future past chair. That's our main thing, and please, you may nominate yourself, you may nominate your friends, you may nominate your enemies, but we'll be putting a call out in the December newsletter.
And I think last one up is publications. I mean, not publications, I'm sorry, program committee.
So the next meeting is going to be at Dartmouth, and it will be on May 10th, which is a Friday. And we're working on the program. And one of the things we're going to be planning is a tour of the Media Center and the library. There is also a very neat event happening at Dartmouth on Saturday. There is a powwow. And so we're hoping that all of you, or many of you, will be able to stay on Saturday morning. The powwow starts at noon, and we'll be hearing a little bit about the history of the powwow on Friday during our program. Next year, our 50th anniversary will be happening, and we are currently working on the location for that week. Next year.
I just have one more thing to add that I forgot, and then you can introduce some presenters. I wanted to ask that presenters who presented today with PowerPoints, if you can send your PowerPoint either as a PowerPoint or a PDF to our web editor, Jennifer Olson, and if you go to our NEMLA website, you can find her information there. So we generally post our presentations on the NEMLA website. If you feel comfortable doing so. Okay, thank you. And Zoe, yes?
Just that when they're doing questions, about maybe just standing up in the front so that it's easier to tape
Oh, right. So after the presentations, so the next two presentations, when you're taking questions, if you could stand up either at the front or here with the mic so that Zoe can get a better picture. Okay, thank you.
So for our next section, we have two presenters. Sharon has been a music librarian at Bowdoin College since 2009. She has an MLS and Masters of Music in Cello from Indiana University. For 14 years, she was a music librarian and head of access services at Southeastern Louisiana University, where she also taught graduate research classes and was a cello instructor. She was active in the Lewis Consortium in Louisiana and served as the statewide trainer for resource sharing systems. Sharon has also held positions at the Indiana University Music Library and the Archives of Traditional Music. Sharon has been involved in the NEMLA as the webmaster and has been a member and chair of several ALA and RUSA committees, including serving as the RUSA representative to the ALA Intellectual Freedom Committee and the chair of RUSA Access to Information Committee. Sharon Saunders is the Associate College Librarian for Systems and Bibliographic Services at Bates College. She started out in 1990 at Bates as the non-book cataloger, cataloging scores, sound recordings, and videos. She became the principal cataloger in 2000 and added systems work in 2003. She was the Nexpress systems coordinator when that system was being formed and was the Bates representative on the team that implemented Aqua Browser for CBB. She served as the treasurer for NEMLA for 2 terms and also headed the technical services committee for a while. So welcome to Karen and Sharon.
So I'm Sharon, and I'm going to start off, and I just want to outline how we're going to organize this. So I'm going to give you a sort of a little bit of history and a whirlwind tour of the collaboration up to sort of Aqua Browser. And then we're going to switch to Karen, who is going to talk about the Mellon Grant, which gave us the joint approval plan. And this, also she's going to talk about the joint scores approval plan that we set up. And then we'll switch back, because Aqua Browser was actually an outgrowth of the Mellon Grant. So then we'll switch back for more details on Aqua Browser, which is CBB CAT and the system's future. So that just gives you an idea of how we're going to organize things. So I'll bring this way. So Bates, Bowdoin, and Colby are the CBB, that's the CBB colleges. We're similar undergraduate four-year liberal arts colleges. Bowdoin is the oldest. They're right up the coast, not very far away. Colby is in Waterville, and that's considered central Maine. When you're looking at this map, because I live there in Waterville, that's like central Maine. Bangor is about an hour north, and then everything else is like northern Maine. but it's central Maine as far as the population, because once you reach northern Maine, it's not very populated. And then Bates is over in Lewiston. So these are pictures of the main libraries at each of the schools. And CBB, the librarians have been cooperating, it seems like, for ages. Before automation, we've been collaborating a lot. So some of the things, early on, we had retention agreements for some large historic sets, and some government documents and reference materials and 19th century journals. Now, since then, we see that some of those aren't needed anymore, especially since some things are digital, but we did have them in place before sort of things digital came along. Right now, the purchase decisions, we just automatically consider CBB holdings, and this is something that has evolved through the time. For music, when I first came to Bates in 1990, we were coordinating the M2s and the M3s, the purchases of the big score sets. Since 1995, we've been doing group purchases for databases and ebook collections. So with the automated systems then, the policies and the infrastructure evolve. So we have standardized loan periods for CBB now, and this means we also standardize policies for reserves, renewals, things like that. We have coordinated patron types, and for the delivery of the physical materials, there's a delivery service in place, and we, CBB pays to have the Saturday deliveries, and we've committed to a turnaround time so that we can basically, people can depend, if they know it's coming from CBB, that they're going to have it in a certain amount of time. So now I'm going to go back a little bit, and this is some of this is really hysterical, actually. But unbeknownst to anybody at Bates, I think, I in my systems and catalog and librarian sort of concerns have been archiving some of the screenshots of the previous catalogs. So this is going to go back in time. But it's a nice way to sort of say what our history was. So we're going to start with a screenshot of the Bates library website in the summer of 1998, which was right before we went to the CBB catalog. And at this time, the access to the catalog was via Telnet, so it was a character-based. It was not a web version of the catalog. So this was our wonderful homepage in 1998. And then for September 1998, Colby actually is the one who did the programming for this, came up with a shared CBB search interface. Once patrons found things, they requested through the innovative functionality, and so we aligned loan rules and things at that time. What we needed to do, because this was just a jerry-rigging, each school had to load each school's patron records, and it was very painful. I talked to the person who did this, and nobody liked doing this. They had to FTP and get them, and they did this monthly, and it was a real pain. So you see, this is one of the screenshots of the catalog. You see the CBB searches on the left, and then the things pertaining to the Bates, like the course reserves and stuff, is over there on the right. And it wasn't, this lasted maybe a year, and then we got a design company to design that banner. So, but this is still the same sort of, the left is getting into the catalog search, which gets you to CBB holdings, and then the reserves on the right. So then Main InfoNet came up in January of 2001. And this is one of the inReach systems that we belong to, which is the innovative product which allows a lot of libraries to be in a system where patrons can do direct requests. So in preparation for this, you had to think about what was going to be requestable and what was not requestable. The item types became very important because that's one of the things that the system looks at to determine, can this patron have it or not. So it did mean cleanup of item records, and in some cases coming up with new item types. But it meant no more loading of patron records because it was, it's innovative functionality, and it uses the patron records on your local system. And just so you know, if I talk about Main InfoNet at some point a couple years ago changed names to Main Cat. So we then could get, of course, with that we took the CBB search away, and we added the search Main InfoNet there. So then we joined another inReach system, Express, and we did this because Innovative wanted to develop article reach, which was direct request of articles. And so Nexpress was basically formed to do that. Now, we did bring up the returnables module, and we certainly use that. But basically, this group of its 7 academic libraries in New England came together mainly to be a setup for design, help Innovative design their non-returnables direct request. So then in this case, we had where people can search MainCat or search Nexpress, and then just the local catalog. So by August 2009, we knew that we were implementing Opera Browser. So we went to a new version of the local catalog, as well as bringing up Opera Browser. That is the shared CBB discovery system, and that's currently what we're using, and it's also called CBB Cat. Now, Opera Browser is like the company or the brand, so that's why I still call it that. Opera Browser is just discovery. It doesn't have circulation functionality in it, or request functionality or things like that. So patrons still use MainCat and Nexpress to request. So I'm just, so this was then the redesign that we did of the local catalog when we were also bringing up Opera Browser. So I'll talk more about that after Karen does her part.
So in 2006, we already had this groundwork for a cooperation of sharing our resources through the catalog and also through resource sharing. And in 2006, CBB applied for a Mellon grant and received the Mellon Cooperative Collection Development Planning Grant. There were 3 goals, basic goals in this grant, and one of them was to expand the collection through reduction, to build campus culture that views CBB collection as shared. And although we were always also already seeing it shared in our catalog, this was going to be, the book was going to be somewhere else, and it was going to be only purchased in that one place, and it was going to stay there until somebody requested it. And then to facilitate budget and space sharing, because as all libraries have, there's only a certain amount of space that we can put new materials. In putting together this presentation, CBB is so wonderful about collaborating and helping each other out. And I just want to mention, before I forget to do this, that in putting this together, I was not here in 2006. And so I did ask for some history from the people that I work with and people at Bates. And Bates is not represented here. Margaret is running around Ireland right now. And then also Chris Schiff, who is here from Colby, who was here at the time. So I want to thank, Bates, at Bates. So I want to thank them for their assistance in putting this together. So what this really meant in these 3 goals is that we wanted to have, first of all, a single approval plan. Okay, instead of having our 3 separate approval plans, we have one approval plan. We don't want to intentionally duplicate anything. Now, we'll see how that turned out at the end of the Mellon Grant 2009. Though my first CBB meeting, the music librarians, had the distinction of duplicating the most. We wanted also to promote this culture with the faculty that it doesn't really matter where that material is shelved. We can get it in 24 to 48 hours. And I actually have been with a student, requested something in the morning, and they got it in the afternoon, and they'll come to me and say, I can't believe I got this already. So it really is that quick in order to get the materials. In the grant, there were lots of working groups and lots of committees that made lots of different types of decisions in order to get this going. And some of the decisions that needed to be made is that although we were kind of the same, we're kind of apples and oranges, or pluots, or plumcots, or apriplums, or whatever they are. I just think it's cool. I love that word. I'm not really a fan of them. Cool word. Anyway, so we were similar, as Sharon has also already said, in size and undergraduate programs, and somewhat in budgets and staff side, loan rules and all these other things, but we were not so similar in several ways. And that's it. We had 3 separate III catalogs. We had different approaches to how we did collection development. In some places, a lot of collection development was based on what the faculty wanted. In some places, it was what the librarians actually ordered for the faculty, and in some places, it was a combination. We had multiple vendors that we were purchasing from. We didn't have the same vendor that we got our materials from. The campus cultures were different in that, could we really convince faculty that this was okay, that it was at another place, or was it really not okay? Could they wait for the materials? And then also we had different data reporting methods and different fund codes that we used, and how do we mesh these fund codes together so that we could get reports out of this, and also that we knew that we were purchasing in the subject areas that we needed to. So after reviewing vendors and reviewing assessment tools, it was decided to go to YBP and get a book joint approval plan. So this plan started in May of 2008. And in this plan, each library has a separate account, and then under each account are sub-accounts which relate to the fund codes. And so if somebody chooses a Africana Studies or music, for example, those will line up with the other music ones that were in the other account in the other library. At first, we thought that the shipments would be rotated every 3 months, but that changed, and it's actually every 3 weeks that we get this approval plan shipment. Something that needed to be meshed together, and I guess since I wasn't here, but from the stories I hear, trying to get this common profile, everyone agreeing that we're going to get these publishers and in these subject areas. And then the final cooperative plan excluded art and architecture. There also were decisions that had to be made about how these materials would be processed when they came. Being different institutions, we had different bindery policies, we had different processing policies. In the final plan, actually the YBP materials come shelf ready. Not all of them have call numbers, and I spoke with our cataloger, and she said about a third to a quarter do not have call numbers and are not really shelf ready, but it is a majority of the materials that do come shelf ready. And this was from the report to Mellon. And so you can see from 2007 to 2009, so this was after 1 year of this cooperative plan, there was a 48% decrease in the duplication. And I think the big one is right here, is the duplication. 71% decrease in the duplication costs. That was one of the big reasons why these institutions were looking at a cooperative collection development plan. So I came in 2009, and my first meeting with the wonderful CBB librarians, they said, why don't we try a SCORE joint approval plan? And I thought, and I said, because my first contacts with the faculty at Bowdoin, I think everyone, majority of them, were asking me how I felt about a book joint approval plan. And so the climate, at least at Bowdoin, was kind of scary. I think I was supposed to say, this is a horrible idea, let's not do it. But I was new, so I just listened. And then Chris and Margaret and Sharon brought this up again with the scores, and I thought, oh, I'll just listen. But in looking at this, the book plan had provided a framework for it. And the other thing is that in our goals for this joint approval plan were not really the same, in that we wanted to get new publications, but we wanted to get new publications in our initial talks, mostly contemporary composers, because all of us agreed that we weren't keeping up with what contemporary music, and we needed to keep up with that. We also needed to keep up with new publications. And so we weren't putting as much money, of course, as they were putting in the book approval plan, but we were putting money that we felt that we could justify, that we were going to spend our money in a good way because 3 of us would be purchasing it and we'd have many titles and we were keeping current with our collections. So in the store planning, we met in beautiful San Diego with Christine Clark. We decided finally to go to Theater Front, and Christine Clark is just absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you in a couple of minutes why she's absolutely amazing. Things that we need to discuss was how we were going to bill and invoice, obviously, how we were going to time our shipments, how we would distribute the shipping lists, and how we would separate the firm orders from the approval shipments. Now, the billing and invoicing, we had to all go back to our institutions and say, how do we want to do this? So the way it worked out finally is that we receive once a month, each receive a bill and a copy of the bill that goes to the other institutions. And that also serves as the invoice. So we're all seeing what everyone else is getting. In addition to that,